Recently my friend went and took her second booster for COVID-19 vaccine. And after that, she felt so bad, had fever, it's like fatigue, and then she felt like her heart was weakening. So can you imagine after taking a booster and then you get this sort of side effects? She's 60, and that was when I started Googling. And I found that there's just only one story, and it's reported by CNA. It says that second booster for COVID-19 is not for people aged between 60 and 79, but the jabs will be given if requested. What does that even mean?
Wow.
But first, how do you know that you need a booster? You have gone through the first vaccination, the second one,
And then the first booster after
and
that.
the first booster, right?
Yes.
So when is the call for a second booster? When do you know that you need one?
My mother actually had an invitation from MOH because second booster apparently is for people 80 and older
Huh?
because they are, I guess, the immune system's weaker, and when the other variants hit, they might get it bad. So okay, yes. After going for that, my mom also had a bit of a problem. She had muscle aches, and she really thought that the screws in her spine after her operation was like coming out because it was that painful.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So we're talking about first jab, second jab, third jab for first booster, and then now the second booster. So
booster.
4 jabs.
Four
in total.
jabs altogether, but second booster only after 5 months
Okay.
from the first booster.
But then again, some people suffer during the first jab, the first vaccination. They fever, vomit. It varies. Some people suffer during the second one. Then we have the booster jab. It doesn't go well with everybody. Not everybody can take it. Now you have the fourth one. But if I were to trace back a little bit of those steps, right? If it's not good for the age of 60 to 79, why must it be good for someone above 80 and above?
Because the immune system is no longer as strong. So the booster is supposed to probably help the body fight the actual infection from the COVID-19
If they have
virus.
infection, right?
Yeah. So
If-
you cannot say that it's almost like the BCG for babies. You give them first the vaccine.
Yeah.
Then when they turn 12, you get it again. And in secondary school, I remembered them having to put a sort of like a jab. And then about a week later, they measure to see if it's big enough. If it's big enough, then you don't need to have a booster. But if it's not, then you get another jab.
But the BCGs and all those jabs that you have during when you were an infant, right?
Yes.
Research was done like many years. There's enough data for you to look at the scale of it to see whether you need or you don't need within a country or within a population. But do we have enough data to say that COVID you need jab 1, 2, 3, 4?
See, even the expert committee in Singapore, they recommended that COVID-19 booster, they do not, the committee does not recommend people 60 to 79 years to have the second jab. I'm sorry, to have the second booster.
Okay.
Okay? Yet, at the press conference, the director for Medical Services, Dr. Kenneth Mak,
Yeah.
he said that you can take if you wish to. Isn't that sort of like mixed signals?
Is he like the expert of the experts?
No, he's
Oh.
the director of Medical Services. He's like the boss of all doctors.
So he doesn't consult the experts?
But he actually said that the expert committee does not recommend. But if you want, you can go ahead.
Why such contradiction?
I'm not too sure. There's no sort of like detailing of that in the actual article. So the article just stopped there.
I think there's two aspects. I think ultimately a balance, I mean, in there's always this gray area. So from a medical perspective, you say, oh yes, there's a danger, but I cannot not give it to you because there is a vaccine there. And if I were to tell you you can't take it, and then don't allow you to take it, and then you fall sick, you get symptoms, then they will come back to MOH or the medical panel and say, hey, you had a vaccine for my age group and you didn't want to give it to me, and now I'm sick. So whose fault is it? So I think it's like a catch-21 or a catch-22 situation where you give, you are damned, you don't give, you're also damned. But again, I think there is a need for clarity. I think we all know that when the pandemic first started, there was so many conflicting information, advice, rule changes. I thought we would have learned that by now, and if the vaccine is dangerous for that particular age group, then it shouldn't be offered, unless, I mean, you have already gotten it or something like that. But it is a worry, I mean, that you have the advice of a specialist group, a panel, and then yet we still want to offer it. It's very strange that we are taking that risk.
It's very strange.
No, from a layman point of view, right? We believe that the government would want to do good for us. It's like when you're sick, you don't see a technician, you see a doctor, you get the bestest of advice, right? But when you give us conflicting advice like that, where do we go from there? How do I know that I need a second booster? How do I know that the vaccination and the first booster that I had was a reliable one, was effective?
I think that's a very good point, and I tried to link it up with what you said, where in the past we had a testing mechanism to determine the level of active antigens or whatever virus in your body. The question, like what you say, is when do we know? Yeah, so I think you guys brought back a very interesting point, and I see the need to the measure. I was thinking of cigarettes where it is bad for you and yet you still allow it to be sold. And so that the vaccine is dangerous, and I think why your friends or people that actually fell ill because they may have enough antibodies in their blood, and any addition will really upset the whole equilibrium. Yeah. So I think the key question is, we know it's dangerous, but in what quantity? I think that's where there's always this qualifier. Any lawyer, any medical, or this qualifying statement, hey, it's dangerous. We're not sure how many % might go wrong. But I think we don't have that measure. In the school last time we used to have BCG or whatever. We say, hey, how many cm? Oh, you're fine. But we don't have that. I think the vaccines are still so new. There's no unit of measure to test.
True.
Yeah.
If you look into the anti-tobacco campaign, there was enough research done to say it's bad for your lungs, bad for your breathing, it's bad for A, B, C, D, can cause cancer. So a lot of research has been done, and you are given ample warning, enough data online or offline to say that, okay, if you want to take this, it's still your choice.
Yep.
But that is because we have cigarettes even before pre-independence, right? So some people have inculcated that habit, whether they can take it out or not. So it has a slow process to wean off that habit from Singaporeans. But now, this is so new. This is very new. Shouldn't you have enough ongoing intensive campaign to educate us publicly so we will make that option?
I guess it's because COVID is just 2 years old, or slightly older than 2 years, and there's not enough data gathering,
Yeah.
and it's constantly mutating. So don't think the experts themselves actually know.
Yeah.
But then they did give a sort of window period of 5 months between the first and the second booster to try, and so that you don't actually get into trouble when you take the first and the second.
I think two things I want to say. I think the closest thing that I can think of from a measure is your hepatitis jab. There is a way to test and say, oh, you need a booster. And then the next thing is how much of unknown vaccine are we willing to risk, given that we already have a baseline measure, how many percent of the world is already vaccinated. And we already know that from a mutation point of view, that there's so many variants, we never keep up. So where do we draw the line and saying, hey, do we let nature take its course and the human race develop that natural immunity, or do we constantly pump ourselves with preemptive strike just to prevent ourselves? I mean, we have to, the experts I think have to come down and say, hey, we need to make the decision. We've really done our best. We've really vaccinated. We've given every human being possible the basic level of protection. Yes, it may wane, but hey, it's just like immunity. Our kids, we need to get dirty, we need to play in the mud, we need to have our own personal resistance. Or they call it the herd immunity. We need to start going down that path. What scares me most is the mRNA vaccine is a new kind of vaccine with a lot of potential, but we really need more information. Yeah. But the first thing is the measure. We need to measure, do we have enough antibodies in the body?
Whether you have enough or not.
Are there instruments already in the market that maybe has not arrived at our shores? Or is there something that the authorities should let us know if they are going to open up the borders? I'm very sure before everything cools down, they will have spikes, because we have people coming in, we have people exchanging seats, exchanging spaces, exchanging air, the air that we breathe in all those closed spaces. How do we know that we are safe? It will spike up, I think, because we are going to open up ourselves to a lot more danger, so as to say, for the virus. So we need to know whether do we need or not. They need to give us an avenue. They need to tell us, if you reach this level, yes, you take. If it becomes green, red, blue, then at least we know. Then we can take our own action, and that makes a lot of sense. Rather than you take don't want done like what? I'm not medically trained.
It's still hit and misses lah. It's like keep pumping the medicine in you, you'll be safe. But in the long term,
what if it is an overdose? It's my life that you are dealing with.
If you have, say, morphine, it will prevent pain. So your pain level is probably 9, 10 on the pain scale. So that's when you need morphine. You can't possibly be pumping so much morphine in the body because you can die. Yes.
Or you become an addict. You become addicted to it.
But if you have too much at that point in time, you will die. So it's like they will tell you morphine will stop your pain. But if you keep having your booster shots, you will still die. So, but then it's up to you. You're the one in pain. So do you actually go ahead and say, just shoot me up, or do you go for the alternative, the lowly Panadol?
If I'm someone from the medical field, I will tell you, don't take, because it will cause you death. Then this would be the range of alternate medications that you can do to have it, right? And also, I would like to suggest to the authorities, if you're not ready, if you think that there will be conflicting statements, then don't do it.
No, there's actually no conflicting statements. It's just the experts say don't do it, but this one guy says, but you can if you want to.
Yeah, but that's conflicting, right? One say don't, one say if you want, just do lah.
It's a whole lot.
Yes, like you don't jump from the tall building, but if you want to jump, can lah. The danger is there, right? If not, then they will not warn us.
I mean, we have always count on a panel of experts. I mean, because they are well read, they know what's happening. But I come from a point of view that we have always been told by the doctors also, don't always take antibiotics.
Yes.
No, don't the slightest thing antibiotics, because it will build up a resistance to it. And we've really seen that happen, the superbugs in hospitals and stuff like that. So I think that same mindset, a booster will really give me that protection, but it also prevents me from building that natural immunity and capability. And I don't know. I mean, we have not been told to. We told that we can last about 200, 300 over days. And most of us Singaporeans, our vaccination status will change, because once that validity period will disappear, then that's it. So antibiotics and vaccinations, I think they're different therapies, but it just boils down to the body's natural ability to fend off viruses or infection. So I think that path, we need to let the body train and being able to resist. It's not like we are unvaccinated. We have some of this vaccinated virus within us. So we have some level of immunity. It's time to let the body grow. It's time the body develop that natural immunity, because I don't think we'll ever have another lockdown. The second wave is coming, the third or fourth wave, but we must start living with it, and the only way to start living with it is building our natural immunity. Yes, there is concern with the seniors, but the seniors are already vaccinated, and being seniors, they need to develop that natural immunity also. So I think it's two things that we need to look at. Is we've already done everything humanly possible to vaccinate, to prevent severe symptoms. I think the focus now should be managing the symptoms. Let the body cope. Yes, provide vaccines for those who haven't got vaccinated. But I think now we just need to focus on treating symptoms, managing symptoms, because I don't think we will have that overload of the hospital system, number of beds, and just now look at traditional, natural way of
That
vaccination.
if you scroll down your Facebook, you actually see people are getting infected, but not as bad. They are managing at home. They're taking coconut juice to cool the body down.
All those natural remedies.
So
A lot of people have forgotten already. Everyone said, hey, it's everywhere, sure get someday, No, it's a matter of time. It's a matter of time, and there are studies that those who have been infected, you have long-term implications. There is always a fear.
long COVID.
But I think the key thing now is, let's go back to basics. Let the body build that natural immunity, because there's no way we're going to have another lockdown. The economy cannot take it. We cannot take it. And what more? We need to depend on ourselves. Our body must be trained. We must be healthy. We must eat right, have the right nutrition, and let's have that right mindset. I think we need to have that positive outlook. And I think with that, how we approach life, how we go about, how we view circumstances, I think will really help in terms of how we respond. Because yes, the symptoms, you might be really sick, but if you give up, it's just a spiral down.
I would not disagree with you. It looks all good. We need to manage. We need to look life positively. That if the system still say that you are vaccinated, what if it ends? What will happen then?
It ends.
It's like,
they stop vaccination.
No, it's like, 6 months done, booster done, all done. Like, do we need another booster jab, or we just let it flow? Or are we still considered an outcast?
I think we are. My greatest fear is Once we don't have the green tick anymore, we can't go into any mass events.
Not only that, you can't travel.
So, where do we go from here then?
Okay, we need the green tick.
Yes, we do need the green tick. And if
So you
are,
continuously needs the green tick, unless the government say, okay, we don't need that anymore. Then you can start pursuing life in the direction that we want, right? Managing
Yeah.
it. But as long as technically they say you need the green tick to do whatever that you want in Singapore, then you need to continue getting that jab.
Okay, I never thought of it that way.
Yeah, it all has expiry dates, you know.
Help! We want to travel.
yes,
So do let us know, how do we manage ourselves the moment it expired? Do let us know, how do we decide whether do we need another jab or not? Do let us know the risk if we have to take another booster, be it we are in the 30s, in the 40s, 50s or 60s. There must be some kind of
an advisory.
an advisory that will tell you that you can or you cannot do it. Right? But if you can, it is good, you remain green. But if you can't, what will happen to your work life, your daily life, or your traveling life?
Yep.
That need to be addressed quickly.
The green tick.
All it takes.